Imagine your business credit profile as a lender sees it, fully built. Consistent information everywhere, a real credit file with the bureaus. Reporting trade lines showing months of on-time payments. A profile that doesn't just exist, but actually opens doors. That's the destination. In this video, we're going to walk you through exactly how our Done-For-You program takes a business from zero to that fully built profile, foundation all the way through funding. Let's start with where most businesses actually begin, because it's not pretty and it's not their fault. Most start at true zero. No DUNS number, no credit file. Inconsistent information scattered across state filings, the IRS, the bank, and the bureaus. No reporting accounts. From a lender's point of view, the business is essentially invisible. There's nothing to evaluate, so there's nothing to approve. That's zero. And the distance between zero and fully built isn't a single leap. It's a sequence of specific steps done in a specific order, and the order genuinely matters. Skip a step or do them out of sequence, and you hit a wall you don't understand. That's exactly where most owners get stuck when they try to do it alone. Not because they're incapable, but because nobody handed them the map. So here's the first phase of what Done-For-You delivers, the foundation. We make sure your business legitimately exists in the eyes of every system that matters. We lock in consistent business information, the same name, address, and phone everywhere it appears, so automated verification systems stop flagging you as a risk. We establish your EIN properly and get you registered with the business credit bureaus. We get you a DUNS number, so you actually have a credit file for lenders to read. None of that is glamorous. All of it is essential, because everything that comes after, every trade line, every approval, every dollar of funding, sits on top of this foundation. Build it wrong and the whole thing wobbles. Build it right and you've set the stage for everything else. Let's make the zero part concrete, because a lot of owners don't realize how invisible they actually are. You can have a business that's been operating for years with real revenue and real customers and still be at zero in the eyes of the business credit system. Revenue doesn't automatically build a credit file. Time in business doesn't automatically build one either. A credit file only exists if you've deliberately established it and fed it with accounts that report. Most owners never did that because nobody told them it was a separate thing they had to do on purpose. So they're running a genuinely good business and they're still invisible, which is the most frustrating kind of stuck, because it looks like the business itself isn't good enough when the real problem is just that the file was never built. That's the gap Done-For-You closes. We're not fixing your business is often fine. We're building the credit profile your business should have had all along, so that everything you've already built finally becomes visible to the people who decide whether to fund you. One more thing about the foundation phase, because it's the part people are most tempted to rush past. It feels like busy work. Making sure your name matches everywhere, getting a DUNS number, registering with bureaus, none of it feels like building credit. So owners skip ahead to applying for accounts. And then they can't understand why nothing works. It's because they built the second floor before the first. We don't let that happen. We get the foundation genuinely right first, even though it's the unglamorous part, because it's the part everything else depends on. And that reframe matters because it changes how you feel about where you are. You're not behind because you did something wrong. You're behind because you were never shown a step that was invisible by design. Once it's built, that whole story changes.
With the foundation in place, we move into the phase where your profile actually starts to grow. Building reporting trade lines. Here's the thing most business owners never learn. Not all accounts report to the business bureaus. You can pay a vendor perfectly for a year, and if they don't report, it built you absolutely nothing. Your good behavior stays invisible. So in this phase, we open the right accounts, ones that actually report, in the right order, at the right pace. We start with the foundational vendors that establish your file, then move up through the tiers deliberately. Store credit, fleet and supply accounts, and eventually, as your profile strengthens, the bank credit and lines of credit that most owners are chasing from day one, but aren't ready for yet. That sequencing is the part that's almost impossible to get right on your own, because you don't know what you don't know. Apply. For a Tier 4 account, when your profile only supports Tier 1, and you get denied, and now you've added a hard inquiry to a file that's already thin. Done in the right order, each account you open makes the next one easier to get. That's the compounding effect, and it's the whole game. Throughout this phase, we're also managing the details that quietly make or break a profile. We make sure payments are reported. We monitor your file for errors because errors are more common than people think, and every one of them can cost you an approval. We keep your information consistent as things change. This is ongoing, managed work, not a one-time setup you're left to maintain alone. And as the trade lines report and the months of on-time history accumulate, something starts to happen. Your scores move. Your paydex climbs. Your file goes from empty to established. And for the first time, when a lender looks you up, they see a business that looks fundable. Because now it is. Let's pause on why the does it report question matters so much, because it's the single most expensive thing owners get wrong on their own. Picture two business owners who both open 5 vendor accounts and both pay every bill early for a year. One picked accounts that report to the bureaus, the other didn't. At the end of that year, the first owner has a year of glowing payment history on their file and a climbing score. The second owner has nothing, a spotless track record that no lender will ever see. Same effort, same discipline, completely different outcome, decided entirely by which accounts they chose. That's the kind of invisible landmine we're navigating for you. We know which accounts report, which order to open them in, and how fast to move, so you're building real, visible history instead of quietly wasting a year. And because we're managing it as it goes, we catch problems while they're small. An account that stops reporting, an error that appears on your file, a piece of business information that fell out of sync. Left alone, any one of those can quietly stall your progress for months before you even notice. Managed, they get caught and corrected before they cost you an approval. By the end of this phase, the transformation is real and measurable. You went from a business with no file to a business with an established profile, reporting accounts, and a payment history a lender can actually trust. That's not a small change. That's the difference between invisible and fundable. And here's what makes it durable. Because it was built in the right order, on a real foundation, it doesn't collapse the moment you stop babysitting it. It's a genuine asset your business owns, a credit identity that keeps working for you. That's the difference between a profile that's propped up and one that's actually built. It's built to last, not built to look good for a week. Think about what that unlocks. A business that was invisible 6 months ago is now one that a lender can look up, evaluate, and approve. Same business, same owner. The only thing that changed is that the file finally exists and finally tells the truth about how reliably you pay. That is the entire transformation in one sentence.
So let's talk about the destination, what a fully built profile actually delivers, and what changes for you when you get there. When your profile is fully built, your business can borrow on its own name. That's the whole point, and it's worth saying clearly. Built correctly on your EIN through accounts that don't require a personal guarantee, your business becomes fundable on its own credit, without putting your personal credit and personal assets on the line for every business debt. That separation is the difference between a hobby and a real creditworthy business. It means when an opportunity shows up, inventory you need to buy, a hire you need to make, a gap you need to bridge, you're not scrambling and personally guaranteeing everything. You're a business lenders have already said yes to. Now, we want to be honest with you about what this is and isn't, because we'd rather earn your trust than oversell. Done for you is not instant. Nobody can build a trusted credit profile overnight. It takes months of consistent, reported, on-time payments. And anyone promising you a shortcut is not telling you the truth. What we do is make sure those months actually count, that you're building the right things in the right order without the mistakes that quietly reset people's progress. And it's not for everyone. If you have the time to learn this, the patience to do it in sequence, and the discipline to monitor and correct as you go, you can absolutely build this yourself. We publish the information for free because we'd rather you build it right on your own than not build it at all. Done for you is for the owner who'd rather hand specialized work to specialists and get back to running their business. If that's you, if you want to go from zero to a fully built, fundable profile without having to become a business credit expert yourself, go to fundability.hq.com/done-4-u. That's the first link in the description. Take a look at exactly what's included at each tier, and if it's the right fit, book a call. And if it's not, the free checklist is right there too. Either way, now you know what fully built actually looks like and what it takes to get there. We also want to speak to the owner who's been burned before, because there are a lot of you. The business credit space has more than its share of hype, bad advice, and outright scams. People promising instant results, guaranteed funding, or shortcuts that don't exist. If you've been let down by that before, we understand the skepticism. And honestly, you should be skeptical. That's exactly why we're being this straight with you about the timeline and about who this is and isn't for. We're not interested in overpromising and underdelivering. We're interested in taking a business from zero to fully built the real way, the way that actually holds up when a lender looks at it, and being honest about what that takes. A fully built profile isn't magic. It's just the result of the right things done in the right order over enough time, without the mistakes that set most people back. That's what we deliver, and that's all we deliver. But it happens to be exactly what turns an invisible business into a fundable one. So take a look, decide honestly whether it's right for you, and let's get your business from zero to fully built. We'll see you in the next one, because at the end of the day, the goal was never just a higher score. The goal was a business that can fund its own growth, on its own name, without you personally on the hook for all of it. That's what fully built really means. If any of this is landing and you want the managed path from zero to fully built, the link is in the description. Start with the free checklist if you'd rather do it yourself. Either way, you now know what the finish line actually looks like. Take a look, and let's build something that lasts. You've worked too hard to stay invisible to the very people who could fund your next chapter.